Hey guys, this is Tiffany with the Nerdettes, and I like this episode of the Orville was just as great as the others have been, and I'm really excited. I wonder what they're gonna do for like the finale of the season, but it's weird because every episode seems to remind me of something. So this episode is titled New Dimensions, and basically it opens up with a party. Everybody's having fun and drinking, and John and Gordon have taken a piece of Yaphet's like gelatinous body and put it on the buffet table. And so, come to find out, like Yaphet goes to the doctor because he doesn't feel well. Because he's like, I'm missing a piece of myself, and I'm not feeling all that well. Borders comes in sick to his stomach, and which is unusual because he obviously can eat anything. So come to find out, he ingested the piece of Yaphet, and so Yaphet has to actually go inside of him, like with like a his little gelatinous like almost like a tentacle to go inside of his body, so to get his other piece out of him. So, anyways, it was pretty gnarly. Kelly has to give John and Gordon formal reprimands on their record. Well, when she goes to do that, she notices that John's IQ and his like engineering and technology smarts are out of the norm. Like they're above norm. Second only to Isaac's intelligence on their ship, for that matter. So she decides that she wants to give him a chance to become their possible next chief of engineering. So, and she talks to Ed about it. You know, her instinct is typically right, so he kind of begrudgingly goes with it because John's kind of like the prankster, and he doesn't really see him as being this intelligent, leadership capable individual. So they encounter or find a quantum wake in the solar system in the galaxy, and so they decide to try to figure out like what's going on with this, how to, I guess, how to pass through it, or how to, how this quantum wake works. So Ed, like during this time as they're trying to analyze this thing, like they put John to help Isaac look at this thing and analyze it. And Ed during this time finds out finally what we've known the whole season since episode 1, that she went to Admiral Halsey to get him on as a captain, to kind of put a word in for him, to say, hey, I think he's capable of doing this, give him a shot. He finds out. And he starts to question himself and doubt himself because he's very upset, obviously, because he's like, at the time, obviously, they had a major rift between them. Obviously, she's his ex-wife, and they hadn't really had a chance to communicate that much at that point. But, so it just takes him off guard, and it makes him question himself as a captain. Like, is he truly capable? He's having this self-doubt, so it really, really grates on him. Anyway, so they get an alert that a Horrible ship is about to go through this anomaly, through this quantum wake, and they try to warn it. The guys don't listen. Like, he basically tells them to shove it and leave them alone, and they decide to pass through it. And when they come out the other side, they are like, the ship goes dead in the water, like it stalls completely. So they go on board, and the Horrible are dead. Like they have their eyes and their noses are bleeding, probably their ears as well, and they're all dead. And they're able to determine that this quantum wake is actually some sort of like a portal or a doorway into like a 2D dimension, or like a hole, like a doorway, so to speak, into like a I don't know, a fragment of space that's in this 2 dimension that you can't as a human or as a Horrible pass through. So they they want to they want to escape, because when they get on the Horrible ship, they find out also that they have Krill plasma rifles that they have smuggled on board. These the Horrible are well-known smugglers, and it's kind of like it reminds me of Firefly, because they smuggle whatever you want. It can be not so legal, maybe, as long as you pay them the right amount, and it could be dangerous. They'll still smuggle it. So that's kind of like the Horrible acts, except they seem to kind of have like a disregard for anybody except themselves. So, but yeah, so they know that the Krill's going to come looking for these, so they are trying to figure out a way to, like, analyze everything, but still, carry on. Well, these Krill ships are coming, or like, coming to their location, so they have to figure out a way to get out of like their way. So unfortunately, because of like their side effects from kind of hitting the quantum wake a little bit from the side, they're still waiting on everything to kind of get back where it needs to be for them to make a jump or get away. So they have no choice but to go into this quantum wake, into this two-dimensional space. So they get John and to try to like come up with an idea, and he decides that he's because their main system doesn't work. He suggests to create a quantum bubble around the ship that will allow them to pass through this quantum wake, through this two-dimensional space, keep them in a 3D form inside of this quantum bubble while the two-dimensional space goes on around them, so they're not affected. So they decide to do this, and they disappear right as the Krill show up. So the Krill doesn't know where they've gone. So they're in the middle of this 2D doorway, and it is insanely amazing. It really reminds me of a Tron, like the Tron grid. If you've ever seen Tron, it's kind of like the light cycle grid, except it's not like blue and red. You have like just basically white lights, but all the circuits and circuitry are multicolored. So, but these lights zip around in like a maze, or almost like a circuit board pattern, very much like the Tron grid. So it's very cool. And come to find out, like, there are actual 2D life systems and life forms, if you can imagine it. All these like lights and like that are moving around are actual life forms of some kind. So very mind-blowing, and of course they want to analyze it to give this to physicists to like debate about and write about for years to come, I'm sure. But yeah, very cool to see that. It's gorgeous, and just again, it made me kind of nostalgic for the original and the kind of sequel to Tron. So but anyways, so Kelly and Ed, like, they're trying to stay in this 2D space and wait out the Krill. So like Ed goes to the like cafeteria area, and he's just kind of sitting there drinking coffee and like kind of looking out over the grid. We'll just start calling it the grid. And Kelly comes and talks to him, and she's like, you know what, you're a prideful ass. Going kind of, like he says, Jane Austen on him. But basically it's saying that he's so prideful he can't really see that she, like, just like he said, she has amazing instincts, and that he should trust her to know the right person for the job. And she lets him know that he's the captain she can respect and work for because she respects him. He's the one that she trusts to make good decisions and to lead smartly. So that's really the reason why she did it. And plus, obviously she gets to be with him as well. So, it hits on multiple, factors. So, I mean, he kind of, calms down and accepts that she did this out of a good place, out of good meaning, meaning well. But yeah, you can tell he still kind of is doubting himself. But there's a problem. There's a break in the power flow of this quantum bubble. They like it shifts. It's not able to be stable. Like they get nosebleeds. It's like 11 from Stranger Things or something. Like they get those kind of nosebleeds, and the quantum bubble is deteriorating. So they have to come up with an idea. I mean, they're able to restore it, but at the same time, they find out that this spatial anomaly has closed up. So they're like, okay, what can we do now? So they come up with this idea of using the shuttle and creating like a small quantum bubble inside the shuttle for just like John and whomever co-pilots it with him to be able to tow the Orville out of this space, because they find an alternative possible doorway out of here if they make it there, and they have this idea for the shuttle to tow it. So but it's kind of cool because they actually make a Doctor Who reference here. They're talking about how the quantum bubble will make them bigger on the inside while the ship or the shuttle is 2D. So the shuttle will be flattened, but they themselves will be in this bubble bigger on the inside. So they're talking about like the TARDIS and Doctor Who and kind of like that technology. So I thought that was really cool to kind of have that nod to that kind of technology and Time Lord kind of thing. So anyway, really cool. But yeah, so Ed decides he's going to pilot the shuttle because again he's going through this kind of lack of self-confidence, and the need to kind of prove to himself that he deserves this post, and that he is who he thinks he is or that he's capable of. So he pilots the shuttle. Another thing too, like he uses Stewie's voice. If you watch it, you'll notice that when he says, right as they're going to shift to create the quantum bubble and go make the ship flat, he goes, "Let's get flat," and it's in Stewie's voice. So kind of funny. But anyway, so they're able to create like a spatial conduit. After a lot of malfunctions and more nosebleeds and stuff and almost getting killed, they're able to finally make it through this 2D space and out of the opposite side of this anomaly, and they make it out, and the Krill ship is gone. And Ed finally, because he's gone through this, he's kind of made peace with himself a little bit. He apologizes to Kelly. He even actually kisses her on the cheek. And they decide to make, even though Yaphet was, next in line to be the chief of engineering because of, just his ability to kind of keep it together and command, even though John says he's not the type to take command and leadership, it's a juxtaposition because he says this, but his actions are natural born leader. He's able to keep level headed while issuing the best commands, getting everybody on task, holding them accountable when they put down one of their own. They actually are belittling about Yaphet, and he very quickly corrects them that Yaphet suggested an idea. He accepted it, went with it, that he should take the blame for any mistakes, not Yaphet, because he, at the end of the day, he was the one that said, let's do this. So, the fact that he's able to take that on himself and kind of rise above that kind of mindset just shows how capable he really is to be a leader. So they do make him the chief of engineering, and he is now Lieutenant Commander John Lamar. So really awesome way to end this episode, to kind of see him come into his own. He's still got that kind of goofy personality, let's get done with work early so we can get drunk kind of personality, but enough where it's just a really good ending. This was kind of like a random episode. I love that they use so much science and physics and and like the idea of like time and space and flow and just like all these different like spatial technology and different like knowledge of that. So I really like that. This series has been amazing so far, and so yeah, I mean, hands down, uh, one of my favorite series that I've watched here within like the past year. So love it. Really recommend it if you haven't watched it already. As a reminder, we are giving away two games. We're giving away Call of Duty World War II, World at War. Wow, World War II and Star Wars Battlefront 2. So if you want to win, or if you want to win it for someone else, definitely subscribe. Check out the video on how you can win those games. You have very limited time to get your entries in, so check that out. See how to win. It's only going on until next Wednesday, not this coming Wednesday, but the next Wednesday. So please get on that, because that last week there before Christmas, we are giving away a console. A little hint about that console: it's very rare, hard to get. So if you want to win an awesome console, go ahead and check out our giveaway video. If you want to win some games, you can still win. Even if you win now, you can still win later. We don't have like a limit on how many times you can win. So go ahead and subscribe. Check out the video on what to do to win, and we will be glad to do that giveaway video when it's time, and look forward to one of you winning it. So thank you for watching. Hope you guys subscribe and enter the contest, giveaway, whatever you want to call it. It's not really a contest, it's more of a giveaway. So enter the giveaway, have fun, and we appreciate you. Bye guys.